All right, guys, I am back with another new podcast where I can't believe I'm still celebrating 15 years on this thing. Like, what the hell, man? This is crazy. Novell J. Lee here.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Novell J. Lee here at the Buzzcast at Buzzworthy Radio. And besides my anniversary, this guest of mine is just literally celebrated an anniversary of his own at a show that he's on. They actually just did the very first in-person date of Days event since COVID
Yeah.
and this past weekend. So that was a huge thrill. And we're also gonna get into the Days Players Band because I got to see
Ooh.
the inaugural show. I got to be a part of that, so that was pretty fly. And they actually played at the Day of Days event plus the Peppermint Club this weekend. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Carson Boatman is joining us right now. How are you,
What's
sir?
up? I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad you were able to do this with me today. I mean, this has been
Likewise.
a long time coming. I've been wanting you here. I've finally been able to like pinpoint it down. I literally said, I saw him play. I need to get him here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we finally
The
made it happen.
turnaround was quick.
Yeah, I kind of was just like, nah, but let's just do this. And I love how the fact is like, no, Carson, get involved and like how to set this up with this guy. And I was going like, yeah, that's good. That's how we're gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's better that way.
It was better that way for sure. But yes, thank you for the congratulations to me, dude. I let me tell you, I still can't believe I'm sitting in this chair doing this after 15 years and still celebrating the anniversary month. So you being a part of this right now is a huge thrill for me. So I'm just throwing that out there. But it's been a whirlwind. We did this the celebration show last week. Eric Martsolf came onto the show. Um,
Nice.
for that, and it was just incredible. We even talked about the Days Players Band during that show, and like I said, I went to the first show when you guys were at the Stress Factory in New
Yeah.
Brunswick, and I loved every bit of it. And I told people because I recognized obviously a lot of people who had went, and some new faces who I got to become friends with now. They all asked me, have you heard these guys sing? I was like, I've heard everyone but one person, and that was Carson. That's what I
Well,
said. I was like, that was my first time getting to hear you sing, especially at live, and your solo performance. That was absolutely phenomenal. It was great. I remember videoing it and putting it on my Instagram story, and I was like, this dude has bars. That's literally all I said. Like, this dude has bars. So I was very impressed to hear that.
it means a lot. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So how did all four of you guys join forces to create this band from the show?
From the jump, Eric might have told you a little bit about it last week, but I'll get into it.
Not really.
No.
No.
He and Wally are really the two. The reason I say that is because he and Wally are really the two that I think kind of spearheaded the convergence, so to speak, of the band, the origin story, if you will. But apparently, Eric, we're all, or many of us are familiar with Port Chuck, and Eric, as legend has been bugging Wally for a couple years now, trying to get him to do some sort of Days version of Port Chuck because
Sure.
Wally sings, Eric knows Wally sings and plays. And then where I come into the story is Wally and I were in Nashville last year doing a fan event. Doing a fan event, and in the event, because it was Nashville, they had actors sing and play and stuff, and that was actually kind of Wally and I's first time getting to really hang out and get to know each other. And so shortly after that, I got a call from Wally saying, hey, we're going to do this band. Do you want to be in it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. With you three, of course. I love those guys. So it was a no-brainer for me. And obviously we all love to hang out and play music and jam out and have one too many whiskeys. So it was just it was a great thing for all of us.
I will say this about my time at the show, and I didn't really post about it because I did, but didn't because I was kind of going like, I'm not gonna say this too much out loud, but I will say I may have one too many at the
Yeah.
show, and I had no shame in the game, but I knew I had to be good, but I still had one too many, and I was going like, does the Stress Factory make them more alcoholic? Because I really felt like after the one shot that I had, I was
Yeah.
a bit tipsy already, and I was going like, oh yeah, I don't think I should have another one. And I literally called the bartender and went like, no, I'll have another one. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's literally what happened. And we were having it was such a great experience for that first show. And
That was a great show, by the way. I mean, that for our first show ever, that was one of our. I think that was one of the more lively crowds we've played for. It was a lot of fun to play, as far as from our standpoint as well.
welcome to New Jersey. That's how we roll.
Yeah.
That is how we roll here in Jersey on the East Coast. I'm just saying, but it was yeah, I was the first thing I said was like when I sat down in my seat, I was going, wow, it's packed in here. I was like
Yeah.
I was not expecting I was expecting a crowd, but I wasn't expecting it to be the point where there almost were no seats left in the venue. So
Yeah.
that was such a great feeling for me for you guys since I've always followed you guys for so long and you guys getting that so much attention that for that first show I was like that is a huge deal for all of
Yeah.
us.
It was a big deal for us too, because it was kind of like, oh, whew, okay, yeah, this thing could work, you know.
Yeah. And and then just towards the end of it just getting to see you guys and just talking to you guys I was just like and everyone else in the room the vibe was so awesome and as you said the crowd was lively I was like yeah this crowd was literally just
Yeah.
jamming to practically every single song that you were playing I mean if you were jamming to Frozen Let It Go then
Yeah.
you're pretty much set at this point. And yes, guys, that was one of the songs that they did sing. I'm not exaggerating. They did sing "Let It Go" from Frozen, and you can thank the lovely Brandon Barash for that. It was a good rendition too. I never
Look,
heard it.
one of our it's definitely a fan favorite, so it's gonna stay on the set list.
It was a different version of the song. Like I never heard it in the way that he did it, and I was sitting there going like, "Yeah, no, I like it this way." And so you know what? Don't hate it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we all said too. We were like, no way, we're not gonna sing that song. And then we kind of all played through it, and we're like, oh, it's actually pretty cool.
yeah, that's literally
All right.
that was the exact feeling. I was going like, "Oh,
Yeah.
nice, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah." You can keep that in there. How was it playing for this past weekend at Day of Days in the Peppermint Club? Because I think
First of all,
these were your first two shows on the West Coast, if I'm
they
not
were.
mistaken.
Yep, that's correct. Well, like first of all, it was an honor to be invited to play.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, nobody had to invite us to play. So we're very thankful and honored to be able to have done that and played at the first in-person Day of Days in a couple of years and just see all the beautiful faces out there in the crowd and feed off that energy. It was really cool. The stage was cool. It was outdoors. It was LA Live. It was a really, really fun experience.
That's good. That's really good. I'm sorry I missed it. Everybody was asking, "Are you going?" I was like, I didn't find out until the last minute because
Yeah. Well,
I
nobody. So no harm, no foul there.
it was one of those things where I didn't think about it, but I thought about it because I was going the last couple of years it wasn't in person and it was virtual. So I kind of threw it in the back of my head going, it probably won't be live again. And then when I heard it was live, I was like, oh man. But now there's time to plan for next year. So I'm going like,
Yeah.
now that it
Yeah.
was back in person, I'm already putting it in the calendar. So I'm
Yeah.
I'm already there already, like this time next year. So it's all right. I'll make it up. But
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you had that experience and this was your first ever Day of Days event, if I'm not mistaken, either.
It was other than the virtual ones
Right.
the last year. Yeah.
How were the fans too? I mean, obviously, I I have some things I want to say as a fan myself, but how were they when you got to see them on that?
Gracious, just gracious. I didn't meet anyone that wasn't, anything but lovely. So yeah, great experience for me.
Listen, I have to echo because I did want to make this comment. It all stems back to the show in Stress Factory when someone asked this question at the end, and I honestly was sitting there going like, dude, I really want to talk to them about this. When you played the devil story, and
Okay.
my God, I knew you had so much fun with it.
Yeah.
Especially when I was watching it, I could tell in certain scenes how much you really were enjoying yourself.
Uh,
Your facial expressions, I literally was cracking up and I was going, all right, so how many more times is he going to break the fourth wall? Because I literally counted like 5 times in one episode you looked at the camera.
yeah. Yeah. You mean like the scenes, or when I fucked up on my part and looked at the camera?
I think it was more or less like when the eyes would change, and then
Right.
when the eyes would change, and then all of a sudden you would turn around, and then I would see your face hit the camera, and then that devilish grin would come on, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's enjoying himself.
Yeah. It was really fun, and probably a character that who knows if I'll get to play something like that again. So I was just trying to squeeze every bit of fun that I could out of it while it was lasting.
How how did you feel when you were initially told that you were going to be playing the devil in the show, especially since this was such a big storyline in the mid '90s when Deidre Hall first played it
Yeah.
back in '94, '95, and there have been times where it was brought back a few instances over the course of the next couple of decades, but then to fully revisit it again, and playing that history, what was that like for you? Like
You
when
know,
introduced?
when I first found out, I was nervous, because it's such a notable and prominent storyline from the past. So, I knew we were doing I knew Deirdre had already been playing the devil. I knew that we were doing that. I knew, but when they said, "Hey," I got a call one day from hair and makeup department, and they were like, "Hey, do you have glasses, or do you wear contacts or anything, or do you?" And I was like, "Contacts? Oh shit! Are you guys about to make me the devil?" On the phone, I was like, "Am I about to be the devil?" Uh, and
What a
so
segue.
I yeah, I was I was nervous, because it's such an iconic storyline, and because it was played by Deirdre Hall, who is, she is soap opera royalty. She can do no wrong, in the world of daytime. So my first thought was, well, talk about following the head, having to follow someone that's, got kind of a hefty shadow to cast. So I was nervous. I said, this is going to be fun. The only thing I can do is play it how I play it. I don't want to try and mimic anything. Just do something completely different, so it can't be compared to other performances, because a few people were possessed. I think 5 people total were possessed over the
Yeah.
course of that time. But I was just excited. I knew it was going to be an opportunity to dig into a character that, like I said, it's not often that a character like that comes around for an actor where there's really no rules, because
Yeah,
you're the devil. So it's
you're the
like there's
devil.
no right or wrong choice to make in any scene. There's a lot of freedom in that.
It was, growing up watching it originally, that that was what got me into like I've been watching Days off and on prior to that, but that was the story that really sucked me into the show
Mm.
during that time period. So just the mere fact that they were able to play that type of role and character for Deidre, um, especially with everything that the character did during that entire time. I mean, I will sit here and say like what happened in this era was a little bit tame compared to what happened in the past,
Okay.
but it still was. I don't want to use the word outlandish, but it definitely was to the extreme. I
Yeah.
would say that,
Yeah.
but this go around as well. I say that mainly because as you just mentioned, there were about five people totally possessed, where in the last run it was just one. So it was
Right.
interesting to see how everybody else's take with the devil in them was, seeing it with um, Bill Hayes and seeing it with yourself and Deidre, and just over the course of it, even when the whole Kristen DiMera thing, when Eileen Davidson came on doing those spots for it.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was fun for me because I played on the history of that era as well. So
Right.
me watching it, I'm just sitting there going like, dude, what era did I just fall into? Am I
Yeah.
now 15 years old again? Like, whoa. Like that was how much it was to me. That was how much I was enthralled with that storyline. So I was very happy that you got to play it, especially since you play Marlena Evans' grandson.
Yeah.
So, so for me, knowing that, I was like, yeah, just keep it in the family. It's fine. So I was so excited for that when I saw that your character was possessed. I was like, yeah, no, that's gonna work. That's
Yeah.
totally gonna work. So I was glad you had fun with it. I had fun watching it. So I was glad that that happened for you. And I will say that the next scene, the scenes that I felt I felt were really good, and I kind of wish there were more for you, was when the whole thing came out that Lucas kidnapped Sammy at,
Yeah.
at the wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
When Chad just busted in and just revealed everything, and I literally saw your stoic face in the background when everything was coming out, and I literally was looking at your face and I was going like, yeah, that's EJ coming right out of his face. Like
Yeah.
that's literally what it was to me. I was looking, going like, that's he's playing all the beats correctly, and
Yeah.
he's definitely coming off looking like EJ's son more so
And
more than EJ's son. I was like,
terrible things he's gonna do to Lucas. You know what I mean? But on cool as a cucumber, kind of. Yeah.
yeah, I'm that guy that kind of pays attention to detail in a sense, and I was just really looking at that, especially since this affected his mother. So
Mm-hmm.
so when I was looking at you, how you were in those scenes playing, and I was going like, he's playing the right beats for this because he's literally, you could tell he's pissed off, but he's not really saying much. But because he's DiMera, he's gonna do some shit. So
Right.
I like the fact that that's how that was played. So I think I would love to have seen more of that in that interim. But
Yeah.
what we got, I was like, no, that was 100% on point.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was it. I just sat there and I was going like, man, I was Lucas Sammy all the way, but you know what? If
Yeah.
this wasn't pure soap, I would, I don't know what is. So I was very happy with how all of that came out. So yeah, absolutely major props for that. And this move to Peacock has been extraordinary for you guys, like legit extraordinary for you guys.
Yeah.
I love the fact that one, Peacock is showing you so much support, but I really think they put a lot of money into the show because we saw the promo trailer from that was revealed at Day of Days over the weekend, and I'm literally looking at it and I'm going, "Yo, they put a lot of money into this," because
Yeah.
there's certain things in that trailer where I'm going, "That's not NBC money, that's Peacock money," and that's literally
Same storyline, same tone. Just maybe some of the details are a little, a little more shiny.
a little more shiny, a little more crisp, and a little more clean, and getting them outside. I mean, when they showed the clips of Marlena and John, because as the three women are dying, he has her out, and they're showing like a slideshow presentation of their life, and just seeing that, I was going like, that's so much. There's so much sharpness and detail in this that it never would have looked like that on the network. I'm not sorry to say that, because I know that Peacock invested into this, and I'm really glad that they did, especially with the success of Beyond Salem that they had for both
Yeah.
1 and 2. And I love the fact that Days is pretty much their big shows on Peacock right now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
incredible. It's incredible for
So
you.
looking at this, that scene you're just talking about, that looked. You're talking about the outside on the roof scene,
Yeah.
and that to you, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say this or not. That to you looked as though they were outside.
It it definitely it. I know it's not, but but
Okay.
it does. I
I
know
just
it's not. No, but
yeah.
but basically when I'm looking at it, I'm seeing how much detail is in it. I wouldn't
Yeah,
have seen that on.
it's insane that the technology. I was there. I got to hang out around that. Because we went. They filmed that at a different soundstage.
Mhm.
And so a few of us others got to hang out and watch that, and it looked. I was blown away. Because you're sitting in this. All you're in is in a big green room,
Mhm.
right? Big lime green walls and every ceiling everywhere. And then you look at the I'm looking at the set there, then I look over here into camera, and that whole world is built around. It's like you're watching a video game. It was insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really really cool.
I mean, it was only like maybe like 5 seconds of what we just well what it was, but just literally just watching that 5 seconds of it, I was like, that's technology improved. Where I was actually probably one of those fans. I know I'm terrible. That I probably was the one sitting there going like, wow, watching it on NBC and go like, dude, you can't do anything better with how the scenes look. They look dark. Why is there no more lighting in the scene? Why
Right.
do these people look like they either have went tanning and they were terrible under the tanning bed? They basically were Ross Geller from when he tried to get a tannin in the booth and then he went way too much on it. Like that's what it looked like to me at most points. And seeing this now, I was going, that's so much better.
Yeah,
Number one.
exciting move. It's definitely an exciting move to Peacock, and it's one of those things where at the very beginning everyone was kind of concerned. We were like, well, what's going to happen here? But it's proven to be. Peacock have been incredibly gracious and just in facilitating these minor changes that you mentioned, and from what I know, I think things are going pretty well numbers wise on the back end as well. So yeah, it's exciting to see it be, I think, a success. So yeah.
From what I've heard, yes, it is, and I'm so happy for that, and I do hope that it continues to stay that way. But from what I recently heard, it's definitely been the best move that it could possibly make, and it has proven successful for Peacock as well.
Yeah,
I love the fact that they're being very supportive in every which way possible for you
really,
guys.
really embracing us. They're really embracing the show and everything that is Days, which is we're just really, really cool.
Absolutely, and you pointed out the best one as that there were a lot of people who were concerned, and I'll be honest, I wasn't because I feel that a lot of things are going to go on the streaming spectrum anyway because a lot of people
Maybe even everything.
maybe even
Yeah,
everything. I mean, that's how I feel because I'm going like everybody they don't have time to really watch it live. They'll always watch a DVR, they'll watch it in
right.
some way, shape, or form later on the apps or anything like that. So, me personally, I was kind of excited for the move because ironically, I'm an internet guy. So,
Right.
so that pretty much was for me an exciting move for you guys, and I was very happy for it, and I'm glad that I was on the happy spectrum of it because it's proven me right, and I love what is happening for all of you, and how much they want to support the show into the next year and going forward. So rumor from what I heard, but
Yeah.
rumor from what I heard. But yeah, man, I'm so excited for everything and what's to come, not just with the show, but also with the band itself. I know you guys are from when I did talk to Marcel, you guys are full steam ahead. You guys are wanting to do more shows down the pipeline.
As soon as we have our 2020 production calendar for Days filming, we are going to start planning day players tours around our dark weeks. So
That'll be awesome.
We want to hit the road. We want to hit a couple different, sectors of the U.S. We want to do, we did the Northeast. We want to do the Southeast. We want to do the Midwest. We want to do the South. So yeah, we're excited.
Is there any place in particular that you definitely want to hit?
Me personally, I'd love to do Nashville, because I love Nashville. I'd love to do Nashville. Selfishly, I'd love to do like Kansas City because I'm from Des Moines. So that's an easy drive for my parents to make. I've got a lot of family in Kansas City, so just selfishly, I'd like to go through there and see some family and play some songs.
Have family show up as well.
Absolutely.
Of course, they're going to be your biggest fans cheering in the audience.
Yeah.
So yeah. That would be cool. Nashville will be amazing. I mean, I had a feeling you were going to see Nashville.
We are going to play Nashville.
You are going to play Nashville.
We are. We don't have any dates ironed out, but we are going to, like, it's known amongst us that we're going to play Nashville. We work with a really great woman named Linda, and she's
Linda
very
Rowe. Linda Rowe.
Yeah. You know Linda, of course. You know Linda.
Yes, very well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she's been hammering that Nashville's a good market. So
it really is, and it for what you guys do, that's going to be a complete and utter hotspot for you four. So definitely Nashville is up there on the chain. So that would be a fun one. If I could go to Nashville for that, I probably would for sure.
Been to Nashville?
No, never. No, that's on my bucket list. I've never been to Nashville.
Look, if we play a show and you can come, I encourage you, plan a few extra days because it's a really cool city.
Yeah.
You should hang around and it's really cool.
I'll definitely have to check it out. That's definitely. Yeah, everybody's going like, you have to go to Nashville, you have to do this, you have to do that, and I'm going like, I really do, and it just sucks. I've never done it before, and I would love to.
Yeah.
What's I'll ask you this before we wrap it up. What is it in Nashville that you like? What is the specific place to go to in Nashville that I have to check out?
Place to go to in Nashville. I mean, the obvious one is Broadway, right? It's where all the shiny big honky tonks are. There's live music everywhere. I'd say just for there's two bars called Winners and Losers that are kind of country music industry knowns that are cool to go and have a few drinks and party and listen to some music.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to check a lot of that stuff out. I think there was is it Jason Aldean's restaurant there? I think that's what.
Yeah, all the big ones. Luke Bryan's got one. Blake Shelton's got one. Dirk Bentley's got one. Kid Rock's he's got one.
Kid Rock's even got one. Yes, I did hear about that. You're right.
Which his is actually fun. I can't remember what it's called, but we went there. I had a buddy of mine because Julana and my wife, lived there for just a few months before I booked days, and I had a buddy that used to play a lot at Kid Rock's place, and I cannot remember what the name of that bar was, but it's fun.
All right, yeah. Well, now I have a list. I mean, I know my friends want to go to Nashville next year for their son's 21st, and they asked me to go, so I'm already in the sense of going like, I think I need to go to check all that stuff out for sure. But thanks, man, for everything. Just the conversation about all of it, and I still find it funny. I want to say this too. Every time I would log into my Instagram, I always see who views my stories. I see your name.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. I always like grin. I was like,
you gotta keep up to date. You gotta keep up to date on people such as yourself when you're in my line of work.
That's true. I have to do it for you guys too. So didn't realize that I would also fall into that category, but I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
You gotta know where I'm gonna be at. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm really sorry I missed you at the Emmys. The Emmys were also a good time for
I know. that carpet went so quick. It's like we got on there and they were ushering us off. I think I talked to like 2 people and then they were like, gotta go.
That's well, I was there. Oh gosh, we did it for 2 hours, so it felt like a rush too. But I didn't realize it was 2 hours when I was on it. So then I started seeing all you guys starting to come down, but then they all started saying to us, they got to go inside because it's time to close the carpet. So they got to go, they got to go. And I saw y'all were still at the end talking, and I wanted to get you guys down to my section, and then it didn't happen. They said we got to go, and I was like, damn it. But it was still such a great time. I was so glad to be back for it. That it hasn't been in person until this year. So just to see everybody and celebrate you guys, celebrate daytime overall was great.
And next year.
What's that?
Hopefully they do something cool again this coming year.
I hope so. I mean, I'll be there regardless, no matter what. So you'll see me anyway. You'll definitely see me. So, but cool. I appreciate the chat, the conversation. Absolutely, man. I would love to have you back, especially before you guys go back out on the road.
Sounds good to me.
All right, man.
All right, cool, man. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right.